Hello, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jessica, and I am getting a cochlear implant. So I just wanted to make a video to talk about the process of getting one and just a little about my story and a lot of questions that people have had. I'm going to try to best answer them for you. The video today is going to be focused more on just the implant and the whole process. I do want to share more about my story that I'll probably share in some other videos. But just a little background, I've been living with hearing loss since my early 20s, and it's mild to severe, and it's gotten a lot worse in the last couple of years to where my word recognition and understanding is basically 0% at this point. I'm completely deaf in high frequencies, so I can't hear high pitch anything. So, what is the cochlear implant and what is the difference between the implant and the hearing aid is what I get a lot. I did wear a hearing aid for a bit and it did not help me that much, and it kept coming out of my ear and kind of drove me crazy. So the difference first, a hearing aid amplifies the hearing that you do have left, where the implant helps you with more of the understanding and words and enunciation. So the implant is a piece that they put inside you, like inside the bone of your skull. And there's these little wires that go down into the cochlea and kind of wrap down in there. And there's an incision that they cut behind your ear, and the bone is hollow back there. And so that's where they kind of place the implant. And then surgery will take about 3 to 4 hours. It's outpatient. And then after you are healed from the surgery, they activate the processor. So the processor is the outside piece that you see people wear. And it just kind of hangs over your ear. And then there's a little piece that magnetizes to the implant inside. And that's what communicates to your brain to help you understand. People ask me, are you going to have perfect hearing right away? Is it going to be great? It's never going to restore what you have. You're never getting back what you lost, but it's going to help a lot, and it's going to take a while to adjust. I've heard that it's very robotic sounding when you first turn it on. It could sound like Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse talking. I've heard references. So it takes a while to adjust and your brain to relearn how to hear and connect the words and the sounds together. So I'm hoping that doesn't take too long, because that part makes me nervous. I feel it's going to drive me nuts wearing it, and you have to wear it to get used to it. But they say one of the exercises you can do is listen to an audiobook while reading it and looking at the words at the same time, so your brain connects that. It's also Bluetooth, which is awesome. So I'll be able to connect it to my phone. I won't have to wear AirPods anymore, which I wear a lot. So that's awesome. Just look at some of the questions I wrote down. Oh, are you getting both ears done? I am not. They don't do both at the same time, even if you need to. I'm getting the left ear done. And how you decide is to prepare for surgery. Once you decide you want to get the implant, I go through the process to my appointments in a sec. Actually, let's go there. So I got referred by a regular audiologist that I went to that said, I think you're a good candidate for the implant. And I was actually very against it at first. I didn't want it because you also become dependent on the implant to hear. So when you're not wearing the implant, you basically are completely deaf in that ear. But my surgeon said that she does try to salvage any hearing that you do have. So I'm hoping that I'll still have some hearing left. But that part made me really nervous. And just the whole, how weird it sounds coming in and all that. And so I was just kind of like, I don't really want it. And I told her the challenges I had with the hearing aids before. And she said, I want you to just go talk to an implant audiologist. And then if you decide you don't want it, come back here. We'll get you hearing aids. It was a mold that didn't fit well in my ear. And she's like, I'll make you 100 if I have to. She was great. I loved her. So anyway, I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to go just meet with an audiologist. And so she referred me to someone that I like a lot. and my mom came with me, and we did a hearing test that day, and I couldn't understand anything that she said. They put little speakers in your ears, or they have a speaker there in their room too, and my mom was in there. And I mean, anyway, so after we did that, my mom was like, Jessica, I had no idea it was that bad. And I was like, it's definitely gotten worse. So at one point, my word recognition was 90%, and then it went down to 60%, and then now it's obviously 0 to 5%. So my first appointment with the audiologist, she was like, obviously you're a candidate for the implant. She went over everything with me, and the brand, like Cochlear America, is, I guess, amazing customer service, and they have great product. And so she's like, I really want you to meet with the surgeon. And I was like, so my first appointment with the audiologist was August 2nd. And then my appointment with the surgeon, my initial appointment just to talk about it with her, was October 2nd. They book very far out, but that's how it is. And then at that point, after my first audiologist appointment, I was kind of like, getting a little bit more comfortable with the idea of having the implant and the process. And I just thought, like, I have to do something to help myself, my friends, my family, to communicate with me. And I feel like I have done a pretty good job adapting, but I also feel like lately I just feel like I'm really missing out on a lot, and I didn't even realize it for a while. And I think working from home and on Zoom, I have captions. Thankfully, I could not do my job without them. But I think I didn't realize it's slowly getting worse till I went in for another test, and I was like, wow, I can't tell you anything anymore. So I started watching some other YouTube videos, and she gave me a book to read, and I can't find it right now. I wish I could, because I could show you some visuals, but I will find it. And I just kind of was like, it wasn't really a hard decision for me at that point. I was kind of like 70-30 for a while, but I was just kind of going with the process. I met with the surgeon, and I really loved her. I like her and the audiologist a lot, and that has helped the process so much. So if you are thinking about getting one, just, make sure you love your doctor, because it makes a huge difference. And I've had a lot of bad experiences dealing with people, just at appointments that should probably not work with the public or with people with hearing loss. But anyway, but especially when you're getting a surgery, you want to feel comfortable with the surgeon and everything. So that has made the process like a lot easier for me. So after that, and she's like, okay, if you decide you want it, at this point I was like, okay, yep, I'm doing it. You have to get a CT scan, a balance test, and a pneumonia vaccine at least 2 weeks prior to your surgery date. A CT scan is so she can see your bones and how they look back there, because you don't know what's going on, I guess. And one could not be operable for some reason. But mine was perfect, of course. And then a balance test, which was actually like really interesting. And you got to wear these like really funky goggles that like monitor your eye movements, like doing certain things. And then they put this like air in your ear and make you feel dizzy. It was wild. But anyway, my balance test came out fine. My hearing is equally horrible in both ears. So that wasn't really a deciding factor either of like, this one's worse, we should do this one. So she's like, once we get through the CT scan, the balance test, and everything's good, then you get to decide. And so I chose my left ear. I'm not really sure why. I just feel like it will be more comfortable on that side. I could only need one also, which would be awesome. But if I decide to get the second one, they won't do it for about a year later. So that will be down the road how I adjust and decide. And so then my next appointment after I did all that, like once I got my CT scan and my test, I had to call back to make another appointment. That was November 13th. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was my balance test. December 4th was when I went in and just discussed everything with her, and she went over my results, and I could choose the ear I wanted to operate on, and I had to sign some paperwork and everything. And also my surgeon said, like, you can go through all of this, and if at any point you decide you don't want it, that's fine. So that made me feel good too. Like, I didn't feel like I had to, like, make a hard decision right away. But honestly, like, the more I've been getting into it, and everybody I tell is, like, so excited for me, and that makes me feel very grateful to have my family and friends on board. And they're probably excited because they're sick of me not hearing them. So yeah. So that day, like I said, I just kind of signed the paperwork and everything. And then she's like, my secretary will call you to schedule the surgery. And she's like, I'm scheduling out in March. And I'm like, okay, wow, that's fine. But I kind of had like a work trip I was like planning on going on. And you can't fly for 6 weeks, by the way, after you get it. And so I was just kind of like, okay. And then I was like, she wasn't calling me. Okay, also, there's a program where they activate you the next day, where they put the processor on the outside the next day, when normally it's always been like 2 to 6 weeks. And she said I would be a great candidate for this. So I was like, okay. But there wasn't a time that the surgeon and the audiologist could make it work with the schedule. So she ended up calling me, and I called her, called me back, and said, we have January 17th open. And I was like, okay. Kind of crazy, and it was soon, but I was glad because I feel like January is a great time to have surgery and just to chill and recover when it's cold and gross out. So yeah, my surgery is in 5 days, on the 17th, and I threw an awesome party there over the weekend because I love to have a party for any reason. And I threw a karaoke party with my friends and family, and we had a blast, and it was so much fun. So I think that is about everything that has to do with the implant and the process that I know so far. There's definitely more of like my story or my hearing loss I want to share with you guys, and kind of take you along on the process. So I'm sure there'll be a lot more fun stuff. And I'm a very active person. I love to travel. I do triathlons. I bike ride. There's also a waterproof option you can get with it, so you can swim, and all that good stuff. So I think it'll be a change, but obviously a good one. And I've adapted pretty well so far, not being able to hear. So I feel like just wearing this is not going to be too much of a challenge for me. So I'm looking forward to it. And if you have any questions about the implant or the process or hearing loss or anything, please let me know. And I'm happy to answer for you if I know the answer. And I'm excited for this journey, and I'm glad you're here with me. So thanks so much for listening. Bye. Start over. To talk about. Okay. Start over.